Hey guys, Rick Hogg with War HOGG Tactical, going live here at 511. Always be ready. Weather preparedness. So again, guys, I think it's important to give you just a little bit of kind of background as far as myself goes. So Rick Hogg, War HOGG Tactical. I'm a 29-year U.S. Army Special Operations combat veteran. I've taken my 13 combat deployments plus my time as a Special Force Advanced Urban Combat Instructor, and I've harnessed War HOGG Tactical. We provide mobile firearms, tactical, and canine training to law-abiding citizens, military, and law enforcement agencies. We also consult for both the defense and firearms industry, and we'll have a product line launching here shortly, which you can find all that stuff at warhog.com. So again, kind of housekeeping out of the way for me. So really, guys, want to get into weather preparedness. So really what you guys have to look at is, first and foremost, your specific environment that you live in. So I can sit there and go, yep, we can look at things such as hurricanes, floods, tsunamis, volcanoes, wildfires, all these different weather events that we can have. However, some fit where you're located at, some don't. So really what you have to do is kind of stop for a minute, take a look, and go, hey, what fits my particular area? And again, I'll be using kind of a lot of references back to me and where I live here in North Carolina. So again, am I overly concerned with tsunamis? Nope, I'm further enough from the coast. It's not really a big thing on the East Coast. It's more of a Pacific deal. But really, when you look at it here, for us, it's hurricanes. So hurricanes is a big deal. We can get severe rain, flooding, things of that nature. So that's kind of my concerns looking at weather. But then also you look at in the wintertime, we do get the freak snows and stuff like that. So we've got to be prepared for that. So really, guys, I want to tell you, you look at your weather, then you got to look at, hey, where do you kind of live at? Are you in an urban area or are you in a rural area? So again, going to be a little bit different as far as preparedness with that goes, but really it's just looking at your particular situation and how you deal with it. Really, before we start, I tell you guys, a great resource to take a look at is ready.gov. Bunch of different checklists, bunch of different things to think about. And really the whole idea behind this ABR is really to get you guys thinking. So I can't give you all the answers because I don't live in your, specific area. But what I can do is kind of go, hey, here's some things to think about. And here's some different ideas that you want to look at. So really, you've got to look at a couple things when you look at these weather events. Am I going to stay or am I going to go? That's a decision you have to make. So again, looking here at North Carolina, there's plenty of people in the Outer Banks that opt to stay when the state goes, hey, you should leave. And for whatever reason, they're like, hey, we're going to ride this thing out or whatever the case may be. So really, it's you have to think what's best for you, your family, your situation. I've kind of broken this thing down a little bit in a couple different sections. So if you look at it from, if you want to say a pre-event, so your preparation, you want to say during, and then kind of post. With all that, you got to take into consideration, is it just yourself, your family, which includes your pets? Maybe you're a business owner, you've got a business to be concerned about. And then are you going to think about others? So do you have, potentially family members that live close by that haven't prepared, that maybe want to come to your place because you're better suited? I don't know, all things to think about. And then really you got to take a look at, am I, either at home, am I out and about? So, let's say, for example, I'm out hiking out in the mountains or something, and then severe weather comes in. Am I prepared for that? And then really another thing to look at is, hey, am I in a vehicle? So there's been plenty of cases of people, severe weather rolls in, either they get caught in a snowdrift, go off the road, flooding, whatever the case may be. So you got to look at, hey, what am I in? Where am I at? And then how do I prepare for it? So really, if you kind of stop and take a look at it, let's look at the prep, for example. So this day and age, man, with the whole pandemic going on, a lot of people got caught with their pants down. So really, for me, if you look at ready.gov, they're going to tell you, hey, prepare for, I think it's 2 to 3 days, food, water, stuff like that. I would tell you from my own personal situation, this is where you do a little bit of research in your area. Man, I'm planning for at least 10 or 12 days. And here's why. There's been plenty of times that we have had no power for that amount of time. So again, what are you going to do? So always prepare for the worst. I'd rather have more on hand. I'd rather be better prepared than kind of get caught with my pants down. Um, so it's what are some items we're going to look at? Obviously food's a big one. So what am I doing? Am I buying just canned food off the grocery store? Am I getting some type of freeze dried? Um, am I going to try to eat off the fridge for a little bit? What's your plan? You've got to have an idea what you're looking at there. Water is always a big one. So you got to think of water in a couple different ways, not only to drink, but again, if you've got to do any type of hygiene, any type of, cleaning, stuff like that, you've got to think about how much extra water on top of what I'm already drinking do I have available. And then, to me, we think about ourselves, but hey, if you guys have pets, what are you doing for your pets? Is it the end of the month and I need to order food? And next thing you know, I've ordered their food, but I've got some type of severe weather coming in that hinders that. So always kind of be on top of that as well. For me, it's one of these deals during that prep process, I've got my food stuff set, hygiene items. I like to sit there and have, important documents. If you want to say family heirlooms, those pictures you couldn't live without, because there's been plenty of people out in California caught in the wildfires that, man, everything gets destroyed. So if it's a case where you've got to get out of Dodge quick, can you quickly grab those items, documents that you need, load them up and go? So really when that time of severe weather rolls in or that catastrophic event is really on you close and you've got to grab your stuff and go, do I have my stuff straight? Here's just a little example, right? So again, you guys should all know, hey, my dog, Duco, you've seen him on the 511 video. Man, this is his kind of bag that even when we travel, it's rolling with. So this is always packed, always ready to go, so that, if we had a boogie out of town, I can grab this thing. I've got food in there for him. He's got his water, his own water bowl, food bowl, all that stuff I need to kind of sustain him. Same thing. Why not just store, his flea and tick and heartworm already in there? So if I do have to bolt, it's by the first of the month. Man, I can always give him his stuff. And that's the same with us as individuals. Hey, man, if you're one of these that, you've got medication, is it easily, readily accessible? Are you running towards the end? So it's just getting everything prepped. Because again, to me, it's that 10 to 12 day duration that I'm really looking at. The other thing people kind of forget about is training beforehand. So again, during this whole prep process, yes, we're getting items that we need in case we're ever caught in this severe weather. But, here's a prime example. So just a little first aid kit here from Active Carry, and it's all packaged all nice and neat. But if you've never actually opened up the contents, seen what's in here, know how to use it, it really does you no good. It's just another bag or weight that you're carrying around. So you have to actually get out there and kind of prepare with that stuff beforehand. Do I have things for first aid? Is it something where, think about this, right? And I'm jumping a little bit forward, but after the event, let's say I've got a chainsaw and I'm out there cutting, and all of a sudden, man, I hit there and slash my leg. Do I have a tourniquet? Do I know how to use it? Can I save my own life potentially in that case, because the roads may be blocked? So these are all things you need to be prepared for. And it's great just to have the individual prepared, but what about your family members? Can they do it as well? What happens if something happens to you, you're knocked unconscious and you get a severe bleed? Can they apply a tourniquet? They know how to get, the medical aid that you need. So just food for thought. With the whole training part, fitness, man, it's a big deal. So, keep your fitness up to par, because again, fit people, healthy bodies, it just helps us during these longer durations. And then the same thing you got to think about, of course, I'm always going to preach the firearm stuff as far as self-defense. If you do have a firearm, especially this day and age with all these new firearm owners, are you actually out seeking that training so that you do have it? So it's you can put it like this: if I've got a tool and I don't know how to use it, it really doesn't do me any good. So this is all kind of the prep portion where we're planning for kind of that worst case scenario. Do we have things straight? I got it. We've all kind of turned into these, credit card monsters, whether it's a credit card, debit card, whatever. We very rarely rely on cash. And if you look at, this day and age, man, coin shortage. I don't know how we get a coin shortage, but somehow we're there. So I would just say, hey, I always have cash on hand. So if you want to say my part of my EDC, I've always got cash, because what if the power's out and I need, maybe the store's open, power's out, I can still get something I need, but there's no way to run a credit card. So really, that's where kind of the cash rolls in. Um, Look at your, specific area. So like for me, North Carolina, high winds, hurricanes. On that case there's going to be a high chance of trees falling down. Do I have a chainsaw? Do I have gas for the chainsaw? Have I maintained the chainsaw? Do I know how to use the chainsaw? Is the blade sharpened? All these things kind of go into account. Is there any specific tools I might need? So you think about this, right? We got high winds. I could have roof damage. So do I have tarps? Do I have nails in case I need to repair my roof? And this would be kind of post event. But again, it's all getting in that mindset of, do I have this equipment ready to go? And with all this, you've got to do a test run. So think about this. If I'm going to sit there and let's say I'm going to run strictly canned food items, how am I going to heat those items up? So do I have a propane grill out in the backyard? Can I put my, cans on there? And kind of note of caution on that one. Do not put your sealed cans on there because you're basically going to heat them up. And as soon as you crack it, you're going to get either hot liquid or items in your face. So just make sure you've cracked them beforehand so they can breathe. But how are you prepping your food? Because again, when people are hungry, they end up doing crazy things. So you just want to kind of think about that. So when you're kind of running your test runs, what am I doing? And I'm not saying you've got to shut all your power off and everything else, but just think about it for a minute. If the power goes out, what am I doing? How have I actually run through preparing my food? Then, oh, by the way, if I am eating, what am I doing with my plates? Am I running paper plates? I didn't prep for paper plates because I didn't think about it, or plastic cups. Now I can't throw this stuff away. Now what am I doing with it? Am I having to wash dishes? Do you have the extra water for it? So all these things kind of go into play. And a lot of times people forget, vehicle prep. So let's think about this. If I've got to sit there and boogie out of town and grab all my worldly possessions, my family items, get Duco in the car, we're ready to roll, how much gas is in there? So typically I like to, I don't want to have my vehicle sitting in the driveway with less than a half a tank of gas. And with that, I got to sit there and go, have I done my planning? How far can I go on a half a tank of gas? Because I'll give you guys a prime example. I forget which hurricane it was. We ended up packing up families and, basically sending them west because we wanted to get them out of here. We were stuck, being in the military, we still had to stay here at work. But the point being is, let's reduce, or maybe we're going on a trip, I forget. But the point being is, let's get the family members out of harm's way. All right. So think about it. If we have this mass exodus out because severe weather's coming in, how far can I get on the gas? Because the last thing I want to try to do is get to the gas station because I'm sure there's 20 other people that didn't prep trying to get gas in there, and just have a rough idea. Hey, on a half a tank of gas, I can get 250 miles, which puts me wherever. And hopefully once you're out of that, kind of danger area, prep from there. But, with the vehicle thing, it's one of those that I know for me, I've got a knife that, I want to make sure I've got a window brake. And then the other thing is, I like to just have a seatbelt cutter on there. So I'm not trying to use my blade to cut my seatbelt. God forbid I was in a crash off the road, snowbank, whatever the case may be. Now I've got a way, hey, if that belt is stuck, I can get out of it. And then if I need to, I've got that window brake to get out of there. So just kind of some things there. Try to pan here. Just looking, and again, guys, just kind of think as you're going along. If you've got questions on there, we'll kind of take them towards the end. I'll take a quick peek as we go here. But really, your prep stage, to me, that's your biggest moneymaker in all of this. So you think about this. Even if I were prepared for severe weather or weather preparedness, I've got my stock in place, my water, my toilet paper, my food, all that stuff. You think about when the pandemic hit, man, a lot of people were kind of caught with their pants down. This just gives you a little bit of safety net. Am I saying you got to prep umpteen gazillion months worth of stuff? Nope, I'm not. If you want to and that makes you feel comfortable, hey, great. But again, to me, my planning window is I'm looking at that 10 to 12 day duration, no power, no nothing, and I have to self-sustain. So, kind of rolling with that. That's with me kind of being right here at the house. So I've got all that stuff prepped. Now let's look at a couple other things. Again, if I'm going to go out hiking, what am I carrying with me? So, prime example, small little 511 AMP 10 bag. nice thing is, here's the deal. Just some certain things. You go out there, you know, some nice spare socks because, hey, nothing worse than being out there getting wet feet, right? And again, make sure you waterproof all this stuff. My water bottle, so I got that in there. I already showed you my first aid kit. And again, depending on, time of the year, I've got my flashlight in there, but I've also got hat and gloves, if it gets kind of chilly. And again, it's depending of, time of the year. And then, another thing to think about is just, an emergency blanket. And you can see this is in the wrapper. So do you know if I've actually used it or not? So it's great to have all this stuff, but if you've never actually used any of this stuff, can I use this as a poncho? I don't know. Can I use it? Does it fit me as a sleeping bag? I don't know. But again, this is where you got to kind of buy one, test it out, have your family members test it out if they're, traveling with you and if you're using it. So now hey, does this stuff work? So great bag here. Beauty is I can sit there, if I want to carry a firearm, it's got a concealed place for it. Nice thing with things going on, I can sit there and put, a piece of body armor in there. So again, it's just added things to think about that it's kind of dual purpose. So now I could kind of take this bag. I could have some food in here if I needed to. I could just travel with this every day in my vehicle. So again, it double dips is I can use that for my outing bag or my hiking bag. But then same thing if I throw it in the car. Now, if something happens in the vehicle, so let's use the scenario, again, somewhere where there's snow, slide off the road in the snowbank. We've seen plenty of stories for it. Hopefully I've got, warm clothes in there, shovel, maybe some sand if I've got to get out if I'm stuck, stuff like that. All these different things you need to prep for, but God forbid you go off into a ditch somewhere, you're trapped in that vehicle. Do I have stuff to stay warm? Because last thing I want to do is get hypothermia. Can I get out of that vehicle if I'm stuck? That's where the whole knife with glass break and seatbelt cutter comes in. So it's all different things to think about. And really part of that, when you look at this whole preparedness part is don't forget, yep, you're stocking up on all your stuff, but are you doing vehicle maintenance? Do you need tires? Those of you up north, about swapping out to snow tires. Have you done that in time or have you kind of rode it out a little bit too late and now you're caught in severe weather? So all these different things you got to think about. And then kind of rolling in, you got to look at during the event. So hopefully you've done all your prep work prior to, you've got all your supplies, boom. And if the weather event comes through and it's minimal, great. I'd rather have that than versus, boom, now I'm at this 10-day power outage window. I haven't prepared, or maybe I have a couple things and it's day 2 and man, we're out of food. Now what? So here's just some things to think about. Just having a plan, right? So you've got it kind of rehearsed. The other thing I want to talk about just before I jump on that is when you're looking at preparedness, if you're going to take others into consideration, i.e., maybe your parents in the area, grandparents, whatever, maybe they're not prepared. What if they opt to come to your place? Do you have enough for others? Or what if your neighbors come banging on the door and go, hey man, we got nothing. Are you going to try to help them out? Are you not? So again, all different things to think about. But really kind of the during part, this is where we've done our prep. Now we're kind of riding out this weather storm. If you opt to stay at the house, what are you doing? So again, using North Carolina, prime example, on the coast, they've already got their sheets of plywood so you can put them up over the windows. Again, you don't want to find out as that hurricane's coming in that, man, I need to run down the store because everyone else is looking to buy plywood. So these are all things you can do beforehand. Do I have all my equipment that I need? My screw gun, my ladders, my screws, so that I can actually put plywood over the windows if that's what I'm looking to do. If I am going to ride this thing out, all right, am I prepared for, hey, do I have any trees in my yard that might not be exactly safe per se, or they're leaning, or maybe they were struck by lightning. We should have taken them down 3 months ago, but we didn't. Again, you need to kind of stay up on top of that because the last thing I want is the high winds and then all of a sudden, boom, now you've got a tree on your roof and we've got more dramas potentially than what we need. So if we're opting to stay, now we have to go, all right, I'm riding this thing out. Hopefully I've got all my supplies in there. Boom, if the power goes, all right, now I've got to think about, I've got all this food in the fridge. How am I working that? So it's one of these where hopefully you've got them set up where you can grab your food out, get it prepared, keep the door shut because we're trying to keep as much coldness in that fridge as we can, but we still want to maximize this food supply that we have there. Um, we've already kind of talked about the gas grill. Do not bring the gas grill into your house to try to warm up your house. Hopefully you've got an alternate plan for heating in the house. But again, anytime you're, working around fire or anything like that, make sure you guys have some fire extinguishers in there. What are you doing, for that heating type deal? I got it. If it's the summertime, warm, humid, or whatever, you're just going to have to deal with the heat. The AC is going to be out. But again, that cold, man, hypothermia sets in. What are you going to do? You don't want your 3-year-old child sitting there teeth chattering, cold. So I know, some people, their plans are, hey, we've got the fireplace in the living room. Boom, we're all sleeping there. We've got enough wood stacks. So all these different things you need to kind of think about. Same thing with the whole food prep. So do I got paper plates? Do I got plastic cups? Am I stuck using, using my regular dishes that now I need more water to clean those up? Because the last thing I want is a bunch of dirty stuff sitting around that now I can't use for the next go around. And Michael, yeah, you hit a good point, man. Solar panels, to charge your stuff, and again, it's all having that supply depending on what your tools are. But you got to think that's good for your power tools. But, a lot of times we rely so much on our cell phones. Is the cell tower down? Is it not? Kind of gets into that whole communication piece. How are we communicating with loved ones? So do you have something like a battery powered radio that hopefully we're getting, hey, here's some updates, what's going on? Do you have a plan worked out, as far as communications go with your loved ones? And then you got to think, all right, hey man, if this thing is running, 10, 12 days, what am I doing during that time? So have something set up. Again, if you're an individual, you kind of go with your own things. But, if you got family, hey, what are you doing to keep the kids occupied? Do you have enough lighting, batteries, for artificial light so that, hey, they can do stuff? Because more than likely it's going to be kind of dim. If you're in the inside of the house, maybe your windows are boarded up, you need that power for them to either color, play games, whatever the case may be. So it's just thinking about stuff like that. And then, oh, by the way, if you've got a home gym, which I think most people probably have because of the whole pandemic thing, I know we've had one for a long time. You're going to try to get your workout in. You're going to try to keep your fitness up. Again, all just different things to think about. One thing I wanted to hit on that I kind of left out a little bit as far as the hiking thing goes is really make sure that somebody has kind of what your route is, what your plan is, how long you're going to be gone, so that, oh, by the way, if you don't show back up, they should at least be able to, they can at least be able to kind of track your route and go, hey, he was kind of going out here, and at least backtrack and hopefully find you if you are stuck in a situation, end up messing a leg, a knee, whatever, and you can't physically walk on yourself. So that's just a good plan anytime you're going out. Let people know kind of your duration, your route on that one. And then really, guys, you think about this, kind of riding the storm out, doing all that stuff. But at the end, now you've got to look at that post-event as far as what's going on. If I've vacated and I come back, can I even get to my house? Are trees down? Are you taking any tools with you? If you depart, I don't know. And then you got to look at, hey, what's the structure, or what's the safety of my structure? Do I have a tree laying on it? So am I going to try to, chop this tree up and get it off my house? Or am I going to rely on others? What am I looking to do? So it's just, is my home safe to even come back to if I've departed? Or worse yet, if I'm in there and that, tree falls on there, now what am I going to do? Because typically there's probably wind, there's probably rain going on. So I probably got water coming into my house. Am I going to try to go out there and patch it up? Or is it something I can do? Or is it something I'm going to need professionals to do? The other thing is, with all this, are you probably going to have to help others? I'm sure you are. I'm sure other people are going to have trees down, things like that. So it's just things to think about. And then kind of last but not least is, hey, doing that insurance claim. So I know, let's use, for example, the people out in California. Man, if you've been hit by a wildfire, my heart goes out to you and I'm praying for you guys. But if everything you have is destroyed, you may or may not have that insurance company's number in your phone. And they go, what's your policy number? Because more than likely you might hit the national, call center, whatever the case may be, overwhelmed. And again, it just makes things easy having that information readily available. So The post part, it really, that's what it kind of comes down to. Hopefully, good neighbors, everyone helping each other out, and then just working from there. So, guys, have been talking for about 25 minutes. Kind of wave top stuff. I'll do a quick kind of wrap up, but what I want to do is just kind of open up to you a little bit. If you guys got questions, give you a couple minutes here to type them in. I know we talked about the solar panels, and again, it's all kind of what you got, and you got to start. If you start preparing now, again, it's not so much of a financial burden later on. Yep, Daniel talks about everyone should have a battery powered radio. I got it, but we're so here's the thing, Daniel, we're so relying on technology, right? That we think that phone is going to give us all our answers, which great, it'll run for a while, but what if all of a sudden, cell service down, Wi-Fi, we got nothing? So, battery powered radio, man, you can't go wrong with it. Fire extinguishers, if you put in your residence vehicle, how long are they good for? So Ken, typically, if you look at the fire extinguisher, um, they should have dates on there, and then what you want to do. How long are they good for? I know typically they need to be inspected annually. Have a chat with your local fire department beforehand. Ask them if they inspect fire extinguishers. Not all departments do. I know where I'm at. There's only one, if you want to say, fire extinguisher location. So you can just take your fire extinguishers down there. They'll do a quick cruise on them, and then typically put a tag on it and stamp it with the month and year. So it kind of gives you, hey, as part of your prep stuff, hey, I know next year, September 21, I've got to go back down to the fire department and let them inspect your extinguisher. Yep. Brad talks about the hand crank radio. You know, again, guys, there's so many different variables out there for things that you can do. The biggest thing is, like I said, ready.gov, great resource. Take a look at that, kind of lay some things out. The only thing I don't agree with them is the 2 to 3 day, because I've been in the situation where we've had severe weather for longer, actually power out longer. So to me, like I said, doing my research, we've been at that 10, 12-day window. So I want to make sure that I'm prepared for the potential max that may happen again. So talking for good sites for maps and Stormwatch. So really, for maps, if you're talking actual hard copy maps, which are kind of a thing of the past, AAA always has maps there. If you're going, I don't know if they still have them at the Welcome Center rest stops. But again, if you get a map of that state, at least kind of know, hey, here's my egress route out. And then as far as Stormwatch, I know as long as you're staying halfway in tune to the radio or even the TV, watch local news, they start letting you know, hey, man, storms are inbound. So that's not the time to be prepping as far as getting supplies and all that other stuff, because trust me, everyone else is out there trying to do the same thing. That's when we're starting to make some decisions. Hey, what are we doing? Like I said, I have vacated my family out of our residence and sent them further west because of what they were predicting the storms would be. Now, granted, it didn't wind up being like that, but again, to me, their safety was paramount. We packed up, like I said, a couple of worldly possessions that we did not want to lose, and we launched them out west. So, Ryan, I don't have a recommendation for a battery powered radio. I mean, it's just one of those. Take a look what's out there, see what fits. There's all kinds of different ones. You can get a battery powered. You can get the battery hand cranked. You can get battery powered hand crank solar. All different price points. So really, just kind of take a look what's out there, see what kind of fits your price point, and then go from there. Do I recommend fire blankets? Here's the thing: if we're doing things right, we shouldn't need a fire blanket. So, I mean, I really don't see a need for it. I'd probably rather take that money for a fire blanket, and I have no idea what those things are running. I personally don't have one, but I'd probably rather take that money and invest it somewhere else in my preparedness. So as long as I'm doing everything right, I shouldn't have a need for it. So Nate's saying, Yeah, so Nate's using an atlas for his state. Yeah, Nate, and that's great. And you can find some still. I mean, I know there used to be out there. You could have all 50 states in one book, right? You don't need that much, but just kind of look at the area you're in. So again, guys, kind of any last questions going on? National Weather Service. Yep, there you go, John. National Weather Service, and again, just stay in track. I know for us, between the local news, between your phones, you're always getting some type of indication. Hey, tropical storm X is brewing either in the Atlantic or in the Gulf, and then just kind of, yep, you're aware of it, and then as things start moving forward, we go there. But again, guys, it's all about figuring out your specific area. So yes, I'm very much hurricane centric because that's where I live. I'm not worried about wildfires out here. Flooding, yes, it's a byproduct of the hurricane. So it's we're aware of it because again, the last thing I want to do is sit there and go, hey, things are getting real bad. Opt that we go from staying to leaving. Now my egress route blocked by trees, bridges. We've had that happen. Bridges roll out. Last thing you want to do is be on a bridge, man. Flooding comes in and that bridge is gone, and now you're in the drink there with your family and trying to deal with even a bigger headache. So, but really, guys, it boils down to that prep beforehand, and then really the part with the prep that I can't stress enough is running those rehearsal runs. I showed you a bunch of stuff here, man. All still in the package, brand new. Great. Because I've used that stuff before. I know how it's going to work. The last thing you want is to sit there and go, boom, here's my brand new first aid kit. I pull it out, and either it's got items I have no idea how to use, it's got items I'm unfamiliar with, and now really I just spent money on something I have no idea what I'm doing. So kind of any last questions, guys? We'll give you a couple minutes here. Type them in, but really it boils down, to the pre, during, and post. Pre being your biggest one. Get your supplies in straight, get your body straight, get your family straight, have a plan for what you're looking to do, and then have those items, cash, passport, important documents, those family heirlooms that you don't want to lose, easily accessible. And I'd recommend, hey, make a list, do something so that worst comes to worst, run through a quick checklist. Because again, during that time of stress, everyone's going to be peaked, and you're going to end up, being 100 miles down the road and then end up forgetting something, and then going from there. All right, got some questions rolling in. All right, so Ken's asking what you feel for a good fit, for a good firearm for a beginner to learn with. 9mm. So here's the thing, Ken. I'm 9mm is fine. This day and age, the defensive cartridges out there, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the 9mm. Really, the biggest thing it comes down to, I'm personally a fan of the Archon Type B. That's the firearm that I carry for concealed. It's the same firearm pistol-wise I teach with. But it boils down to, I don't know what your hand size are. So really, you got to go out there, kind of feel it. And ideally, if you've got other friends who have firearms, if you can test shoot their guns beforehand, that's always a good thing to kind of see how the fit and feel works for you. Because, for example, a class I had in August, I had a gentleman out there, large guy, big hands, and he's got some small little compact 45 pistol that just, man, it wasn't working out the best for him just because his hands were overwhelming that handgun. It was just difficult for him, especially being a 1911 style pistol. Hard for him to work the controls and everything. So really just kind of get up with some buddies, go down to the gun shop, whatever, kind of get that feel in your hand. If you can test shoot it beforehand, even better. So, yep. So Dennis just checked. Dennis is letting you know, hey, he just checked. You can get free maps to the Welcome Center. So there you go. Next time you're traveling, swing by the Welcome Center, pick up a map, kind of have your egress routes where you're looking to go. First aid trauma training, companies you recommend. Probably the easiest is really, I know the American Red Cross offers first aid, training. I don't know. I'm not sure how much they get into trauma stuff, but probably the Red Cross, since they're there local, makes it easy. But again, a lot of us firearm trainers are starting to incorporate first aid stuff in there, or bringing medics, especially for me. I know 18 Deltas, which is a Special Forces medic. That's usually the guys I look for, because trust me, I know their medicine is spot on, especially on trauma medicine. So What foods do you have for that 10-day window? John's asking. So here's the thing, bud. It's a, for me, I've got a variety, right? So we've got kind of some freeze dry stuff, but that's really my last resort because that's taking up water, stuff like that. Just looking at your canned stuff works out pretty good. But again, I've got a plan that I want to hit that stuff in the fridge first. So we're going to try to knock that stuff out first so it doesn't go to waste. But it boils down to what is your, what are you normally used to eating? So a lot of people think, all right, man, I'll go out and buy 10 cans of soup. Great. What is that soup going to give you caloric calorie wise for that duration? So you got to kind of look at that. How am I actually feeding myself, putting nutrients back into my body on those items you have? So really, that's what you got to kind of look at. You got to take a little bit look for you, and then, oh, by the way, how are you going to prepare it? So again, we talked about whether you live in an urban or a rural environment. Hey, even if you don't, if you're out in a rural environment, cool, I can go out to the backyard. I've got a fire pit back there. Worst comes to worst, I got to put the grate down and cook some stuff on that. Or, I've got the grill as well. So you've got to look at what kind of fits your palate, what's your caloric intake, and then how can you prepare it and go from there. So again, I'm not looking to try to be miserable during those 10 days. So just look at kind of the food that best fits for you. In truck bag, K-bar, or hatchet, or both. Here's the thing. Probably, hatchet potentially. Just for chopping stuff. K-bar. Do you need a large fixed blade? I'm not really sure for what. To me, as long as you had a good folder, and like I said, for me, my pocket knife has the seatbelt cutter and the glass break. So just food for thought on that one. Do you recommend carrying a Tomahawk in your vehicle? So again, if you're looking at the Tomahawk as a tool or self-defense, just depends on what application you're looking at. But regardless, whatever you're putting in your vehicle, you just want to make sure that you can use it. So, to me, a Tomahawk, is that going to fit? Depends on it. Is it similar to a hatchet? Yep. Does it have an actual hammer portion? If I had to hammer something or use it as a tool, yep. Is it have a cutting blade? So you got to look at whatever I'm using, do I have versatility in it? And that's the other thing, guys. When you're looking at all this stuff, I got it. Water's water, right? But when you look at water, it serves multiple facets. Yep, I need to drink it to stay hydrated. I might have to use it for either, wash dishes if I'm in that point, sanitation, or think about this, right? Big toilet paper shortage of this pandemic. Cool. If the power goes out, I lose the water as well. How are you actually flushing your toilets if you need to? So, is there less lethal options I would consider? To an argument, lethal or to augment lethal options during a civil disturbance. Here's the thing. If you look at it, hopefully you shouldn't have to be in a situation because again, let's just use, for example, at my house. So if I'm home, now you just got to think about, all right, if I'm out in the backyard cooking, trust me, everyone's going to smell that food coming. Are they going to come banging on my door wanting my food? The biggest thing is it all boils down to you've got to be, your mind's kind of that less lethal weapon, right? So everyone's looking for options less lethal wise. Hey, if I've got pepper spray and all this other stuff, that's great if you use it. What if I'm in the downwind side? Now, in essence, I spray it, it gets my face. So again, try to, here's the biggest thing, just try to negate any dramas, as far as, the civil disturbance. And again, I can't speak for your state, but I know at least the state of North Carolina tells me if somebody tries to break into my house, they've automatically said I'm in fear for my life. So just food for thought on that one. So John's asking about the posts, and the headrests to break a window. Not sure, John, on that one. I've never tried it. I know my vehicle doesn't have a retractable headrest, so it's got a fixed one, so it doesn't work for me. But I have no idea. Alan, as far as multi tools, hey man, I've been a big Leatherman fan from the get go, but there's other good ones. I know Gerber and a bunch of other people have tools out there. You just got to look at, a multi tool is no different. There's so many different options out there, and really it boils down to, can you find people that have that tool, check it out, and then go from there. So, Steve, gun stickers on the car, deterrent or invite. You know, I just the only sticker I have in my vehicle is a War HOGG sticker, and that's just branding for me. So, um, it can go both ways, right? So, could it be a deterrent to some that potentially know what it is? Could it be an invite? Absolutely. So now they might be thinking, hey, if I see, gun company X sticker on your vehicle, am I going to cause more dramas? And it kind of goes into this, right? So typically, most people put their stickers on the back windshield. It boils into, especially when you pull into your driveway, if you don't have a garage, am I backing in so that if I did have to egress quickly, it's there? And then, oh, by the way, I'm not advertising to everybody on that. So, good questions, guys. Really, biggest thing at the end of the day, have yourself prepared, have a plan, make sure you brief your family members, get them on board, talk to your family members, have that egress route if you need it. Where are you going to in that egress? Am I going to arbitrarily go to some hotel, or do I actually have friends, family that I can egress to if that's my option? What am I taking with? Don't forget your pets. War Dog Duco, man, he's rolling with all the time. Do you have a kennel for him? We do. Just makes things easy. So just different things to think about. Cash money, always king. Whatever you've got, especially if you guys are first-time firearms owners, get out there, get some training. Does you no good to have the tool and you've got no training how to use it. So it's no different. Think about it in this way. Just because I've got a hammer doesn't mean that I'm a carpenter and can build a house. So make sure you get out there and get the training. Last kind of plug-in, guys, as you go. So I'll tell you this. Call the Service podcast from 511 just dropped the other day with me. If you want to learn a little more about me, it's out there. So definitely give it a listen to. John, you're very welcome. And again, as far as if you are a first-time firearms owner and you want to get some training, again, you go to warhogg.com for our upcoming class schedules. We do travel all over the country. And then again, I put content out Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all War HOGG Tactical, and it'll get you some information out there. So you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Have a good plan. Get your stuff prepped. And just remember, always be ready. All right, guys. War HOGG out.